Welcome back to the Talking Sports Traders podcast, episode numero
5.
Is it 5? Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, well remembered. Welcome back. My name's Sean. I'm joined with Pete. Pete, how are you?
Good.
We haven't been on for a while, have we?
No.
It's been a bit lacking recently.
To be fair, there's some circumstances though.
Yeah, I mean, I was abroad for a bit.
And now you've bust your leg as well.
Yeah, and I've also got a bad knee as well, but we won't talk too much about that. And yeah, just been busy with work really. But we have been keeping up with the tips on Twitter, and so make sure you keep an eye on that. We've missed out on quite a lot, and we decided to do an episode basically where we just come back and talk about everything that's been happening really, like what we've missed out on, and obviously I'm sure people who follow sports in general will have a good understanding of what's been happening recently. So we're going to go through everything basically and have a little chit chat about it. Best place to start, probably the footy.
Yeah, probably a review of the...
I think congratulations is on hand.
Yep.
Nice Premier League champions again.
I mean, I didn't do anything
towards the... Well, you scored the winner.
Yeah, it's nice to be part of it though.
Yeah. How does it feel? Is it sort of expected?
Yeah, it's kind of more like relief nowadays.
Yeah.
Getting over the line, because it was a bit iffy towards the end, wasn't it, against West Ham and then Villa as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's more just relief, I guess.
I guess it's also a relief that you actually got to win something, I guess, because obviously you knocked out the Champions League, found Liverpool, and then came down to the last day. Massive game against Villa, which I think going into that game, people probably did expect City to win, but didn't realise how close the game was going to be and how difficult you made it for yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, we were 20 minutes away from not winning a trophy all season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I say, relief, and the game was much closer, but there's no easy game in the Premier League.
Absolutely not. I think it shows the nerve of not only the players but even Pep as well. Tactically, he changed things. Brought Bernardo off, didn't he?
Yeah, brought Bernardo off.
Gundogan came and made a big impact, and again another sensational performance from De Bruyne. From a Liverpool aspect, I guess they are gutted. I think it'd be harsh to say they've had a disappointing season, but in reality they probably would have liked to have won the Premier League and the Champions League. I think if they were to choose out of the 4 cups which 2 they want to win, the FA Cup and the Carabao probably weren't the 2 they'd have chosen.
Yeah, they'd have been fitted for. I think you can say that it's like a disappointing season, but also like a good season.
Yeah.
Because it's a good season for sure, but the way it ended is clearly disappointing.
Yeah.
So I think you can have a disappointing and good season at the same time. Maybe in 5 years' time, people look back at it and say, well, winning 2 trophies in the same year is pretty good anyway.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
I think if you win a trophy, it's impressive. I think obviously maybe for the top 2 teams like Liverpool and City, it's more expected perhaps to win something. But no, we finished the season. Obviously, City win the league, Liverpool second. The top 4 was also another big sort of race with Spurs and Arsenal. Spurs ended up nicking it in the end. Disappointing season for Arsenal.
Yeah, again, it's the same sort of thing as Liverpool. At the start of the season, if you said, oh, you're finishing 5th, they probably would have taken it, but the position they put themselves in, there's only one way you can look at it, and that's disappointing, really. Especially the performance against Spurs, that was just woeful.
Yeah, such a big game on the line, you'd expect it to be a closer match, really, and for them to come out losing in that way just was disappointing, especially for Arsenal fans, I'd imagine. Great relegation on the other side of the table. We've got Watford. Who else have we got? We've got Watford. We've got Burnley. Now Leeds obviously saved themselves last minute, and obviously Norwich as well. Leeds pulled off an impressive win, last minute goal. And when you look at it, in the end, they would have been up anyway. Because of it, but obviously that they didn't know that at the time, and you could tell that by the celebrations that they pulled off. Jesse Marsch coming in and doing the job really, which some people probably would have said Bielsa may have done.
Possibly, but I still think that regardless of how well Leeds played in the last game of the season, they stayed up because Burnley failed to win. It's Burnley's fault that they're down, not Leeds' fault. Yeah. You know, Burnley were in the perfect position, just needed to win at home, and they couldn't do it. So it's just a shame for Burnley, but I've not really got much sympathy for them sacking Dyche. So
Yeah, it's a weird one. I'm not a huge fan of Dyche, but when you look at what he's done for Burnley, how he's kept him up, I guess, and some of the players he's also brought in, especially this season, like the likes of Weghorst and Cornet and that. I mean, some top players who most likely are going to have a good season next year in the Championship if they're to stay.
Yeah.
New manager is definitely needed as well.
Yeah, I think Tarkovsky's out of contract or going into his last year, so I think he's not going to be there. And there might be some people wanting Pope as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the England setup. He's a phenomenal keeper, and if you look at some of the saves he's made throughout the season, he's saved some of Burnley's games this year.
For sure.
He's a world-class goalkeeper, and definitely, I think, probably a shout for being sort of England's number one. If he's at a better team, maybe you'd have a better argument, I guess.
Maybe, but even with Ramsdale, I think Southgate is a very loyal coach.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a direct quote from him, but it sort of feels like that until you let him down, he's going to carry on picking you.
Yeah.
And Pickford's never let England down. So the number one jersey is his until he makes a mistake for England.
Exactly.
And he finished the season so well.
Yeah.
So well.
Yeah.
So I think going into these Nation League games, I think that Pickford will still be number one.
A lot of people say that. They say that, like, Ramsdale's have been better this year and stuff like that. It's like, well, that's a fair enough argument, but Pickford just hasn't done anything wrong for England. And
exactly.
The way England play their football, I mean, he's got a monster kick on him as well, and it's been that cat-like athleticism from him in between the sticks is what sort of saved England in some matches.
A massive passion as well.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think Southgate and definitely the fans love as well about Pickford is his passion for the game.
It's the same argument with Harry Maguire as well. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if Harry Maguire goes and has 2 great games in the Nations League.
Yeah,
for England.
But this is the thing as well. People say perfect scenario. This people say that Maguire isn't good enough.
Yeah.
You look at like the last few games of the United season, he hasn't been in the team. But then, do England play him like when they go to Euro's game? For me personally, I think they do.
Stones and Maguire have been perfect for England
Exactly.
as a centre-back partnership, so I can't see him not.
Well, in Southgate's formation, he has like the 5 with the 3 sort of centre-backs, and usually it's sort of like a Maguire, Stones, Walker, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Walker's been fairly decent this season. Had a bit of an injury scenario.
Yeah, I think he might not play the Nations games.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
And that also begs the question who comes in to replace, because you've got likes of sort of like Tyrone Mings, who's had a fairly decent season at Villa. Connor Cody's also another one, but again, maybe a little bit on top of the older side to play in regular games all the time. Because the Nations League comes, especially in the World Cup as well, it comes quick as well.
Yeah.
New additions though to the England squad. One of them actually fills that spot is Tomori. Had a fantastic season in Italy. People have been saying it for ages that he should be in England set up. Now he is.
Yeah.
Right choice?
Well, yeah. I don't really know too much about the season in Italy, but all accounts say it's been very good.
Yeah.
And I think it should be encouraged actually to go abroad for a few years. Sancho did it, Bellingham's doing it. Abraham obviously has had a great season as well.
Also called up as well to the England setup.
Yeah.
Fantastic season with Roma. No, I completely agree. I think Tomori is a great shout. He's not like your typical centre back where you have like sort of the big sort of Maguire sort of stature and winning things in the air, but he's fast. He's sort of like a modern day centre back, is what I like to say. So yeah, I think he's. Good.
It's going to be interesting to see who plays left back.
Left back's interesting, yeah.
Because obviously we'd have Shaw or Chilwell, but Shaw's been out of the team. Chilwell's injured, so
yeah, no, 100%. I think obviously it all depends on who's fit at the time, and it's all good being injured during the Premier League season, but then if you're fit again for the England setup and you're training well, then you have the rights to play. Let's not forget. I mean, like Trippier, for example. I think he's fantastic with England. I think at Newcastle he's been all right as well. Does play right back and left back at times. Probably prefers the right wing back sort of role. But if needs to, I'm sure the players wouldn't mind adjusting. One of the biggest arguments is with Trent.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw him in the Champions League final, which we'll touch on. People calling out saying that his attacking play is fantastic. He's great at passing, great at shooting, etc. Defensively lacks.
Yeah.
Does Southgate see that? You think?
Possibly, but I think it's awareness as well. Like he's still so young, so he's going to learn it. I remember when Walker used to, not look over his shoulder too much. And now he's perfect at it now. So I think he'll learn it. I think it's, as an England fan, I've got confidence whichever right back he picks. Like, I've got no problem.
Yeah. Sure.
So it's a big debate, but it doesn't really bother me. Like, I don't really, I don't have one side of the argument. Like, I should definitely play James or I should definitely play Trent. Don't bother me. They're both great.
In Southgate we trust. Is the motto. We will touch up on all the other sports and stuff like that. We just want to touch finally on the Champions League. Liverpool, Real Madrid.
Yep.
Real Madrid won 1-0. For those who didn't see it, Liverpool were the much better team on the night.
Yeah.
But I guess Real Madrid had done what they've basically done all season, and even throughout the Champions League stages, is basically just get that goal when they need it. And
hang in there. Man of the match performance from the keeper. Keeper's part of the team, so it's not,
Yeah.
And then he got that one goal. So
Ancelotti now the most successful manager in European football. I think it is, or something like that.
So. I think he's got 4.
4 now. I think there was Zidane on 3.
Yep.
Paisley, I think, was 3.
Possibly.
And there was someone else, I can't remember who.
Di Stefano, I think.
Yeah, it could have been. I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, he's on 4 now. It's quite remarkable considering he was at Everton and did fuck all there. So
big time.
Yeah, it is impressive. There was a lot of trouble at the game as well. A lot of fans sort of not being let into the stadium, tear gassing, blaming sort of French police. There's a lot of stuff coming out on Twitter now where they're talking about fans who had sort of like fake tickets, and that was sort of one of the reasons why they were a bit like sort of more wary as to who they're letting in at the time. We don't really like seeing things like that in football games.
And the people are trying to charge the turnstiles as well.
Yeah.
I don't know who to believe, so
I think
not going to make too many comments. There's a bit on both sides, probably.
100%. I can believe the fact that the people have turned up with fake tickets, even no tickets at all. I know of teams who have been in European Cup competitions where they've gone abroad for away games, but without a ticket, just gone so they could like sort of hang around in the city, wait for the game to finish, and just have a drink with the lads. But the thing is, Champions League is like, there will be a lot of people who don't support either team at those games, because it's like a World Cup game, sort of, in the sense that you get people going who don't support either team. It's just what ticket you can get.
Yep.
So you have to be more sort of like careful. This isn't like a Premier League game. This isn't like a derby match. There's going to be kids there, and families and stuff. So definitely going to be more investigations going on there.
Yeah, it's got to be a wake-up call as well, because Paris have the Olympics in 2024.
Exactly. They need to sort out the policing techniques as well, because tear gassing people just isn't the right way to go unless you're absolutely necessary. There was a bit of a funny story as well, I'm not sure if you saw it, regarding some Liverpool fans' journey over to Paris. There was some who got like speedboats and stuff like that, a lot of flights cancelled. There was a particular group of fans who booked a coach. I don't know if you saw this.
I've seen this one,
Yeah, so for those of you who weren't aware, they booked a coach. I can't remember what the company was called. It was like Coach Limited Services.
Coach Solutions Limited.
Something like that. They said they'd pick them up at a certain time. The fans are waiting there. Bus doesn't turn up. After further investigation, they found the director of the company or the driver of the bus or something like that on the name of Richard Arlison, which obviously is Richarlison, who's the striker for Everton. Too far or just good shithousery?
It's good shithousery as long as the money gets returned. I don't as long as he's not stolen any money.
Well, this is the thing as well, is like, if the guy's just set up a company, has he charged them, or has he said to them like, all right, just pay on the day?
Yeah, that's what I mean. If he's taken money, that's too far.
If
he's taken money, that's too far. But if they've got the money back or they never paid for anything, that's funny.
If you're the fan, are you sort of like, after a few days of sort of like dwelling on it, you going off? Fair enough, we got done.
I don't know. You're going to be angry.
You're going to be bitter, right?
At least Liverpool didn't win. Then you'd be even more pissed.
Well, definitely. I personally think it's good shithousery. I think it's the best thing I've seen in terms of football shithousery in years, and I think it's even more hilarious the fact that it was Liverpool as well.
Yeah.
So that's we'll finish on that point. We can touch on the Championship.
Yep.
Fulham won the league, obviously, as we said they would. We said that in previous podcasts. We expected it. Mitrovic was basically an absolute monster. We had Bournemouth, who have also gone up in the automatic places. And we had the playoff final this weekend, which was between Huddersfield and Nottingham Forest.
Yep.
Forest won 1-0, own goal. I did watch the game. Seemed fairly even. I think Forest maybe could say they had better chances. Towards the end of the game, Huddersfield had 2 good shots for a penalty, actually. The Forest last, do you think, in the Premier League?
I think they've got a lot of loan players. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on the squad. They've got a good manager. Maybe they'll invest well. I just see a lot of the Premier League teams getting stronger.
Yeah.
You know, year by year in terms of the bottom half of the table.
Yeah.
You know, you could say, for example, you've got like the likes of Palace that are finishing in the bottom half. You can see the improvement year on year. You can see the improvement on the likes of Brighton. Yeah. Now Burnley are down. Leeds are going to have a full season with the new manager. They might improve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a little look already. Obviously, Aston Villa have already signed
They signed like 2 or 3 players already, haven't they?
Made Coutinho permanent. Yeah. So I was actually looking, and I think, you know, if one of the teams stays up, there's only 2 candidates now that are from the Premier League this year that could go down, and for me that would be Brentford and Southampton.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, the 3 teams have got to get ahead of those 2. I think at least one of them will go down.
Wow.
All 3 could easily go down.
Maybe early tip for...
Yeah, I think Southampton, definitely.
Really interesting. I think it all depends on who they sign. Let's not forget that the playoff final is, I might be wrong, but one of the most sort of rewarding games in football, sort of in terms of prize money and stuff like that, with the TV rights, etc. So it's a
I remember it used to be 90 million instead, but now it's definitely got to be over 100.
Crazy.
Yeah, but with Southampton, and you say who they buy, it's more who they keep. I mean, if Ward-Prowse goes, then that's them down.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me if the likes of, you know, like Newcastle would try and get him, or another team in the Premier League, maybe Liverpool or City. Yeah. You know, if they think they can get him for cheap, and then as soon as Ward-Prowse goes, that's it. Take away 10 goals and 10 assists from a team that already kind of struggle.
Definitely. Yeah, no, 100% I agree. I think it's going to be an interesting one. I saw odds were released today on winner of the Premier League for next season. City like 4-7, I think. Liverpool at 2-1, which
sounds about fair.
It's about fair, really. And then obviously the further down you go, the higher the odds. And Forest weren't even the bottom one; they were like the 5th bottom, I think.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. It was about 250-1, maybe, which I think is actually harsh.
Yeah, they would have been 5,000-1 if it wasn't for Leicester.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, Leicester ruined it. But no, I think it was an interesting season in the Championship. Disappointing for us, being a Middlesbrough fan. I think, considering Wilder came in and did probably the best he could with the team that we had. Just missed out on the last day. Rebuild for next season. I think a lot of teams will also be thinking the same thing. That there's going to be a good shout for playoffs next year. I think it's going to be just as tight next year as well, especially with the teams that are coming down. Watford, let's not forget, have some strong players still.
Yep.
Like Emmanuel Dennis, João Pedro. If they can keep these players, I think it's going to be a walkover for Watford next season.
You think?
I think depending on if they bring some more players in as well, it depends who they can keep as well. That's one of the other issues. So I think football wise, that's probably it. I was going to say maybe you're thinking sort of like player of the season in the Premier League, or if you want to sort of like break it down, you like keeper, defender, midfielder, striker of the season.
Let's go for it.
Well, then so we start goalkeeper. You have a goalkeeper in mind? Who sort of like comes to mind?
Well, I think De Gea was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your shouts are sort of De Gea, Ramsdale.
Ramsdale did really well.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that I like Alisson and Ederson are really like top keepers.
I think Alisson's been better than Ederson this year.
But neither of them put.
But like exactly, I think it's just it's a case of they've got a strong defence in front of them, so it's not easy. I think I probably would pick Ramsdale slightly over De Gea just for some of the saves he pulled off. Like from a free kick from Maddison, I think it was. I think probably just Ramsdale for me. Defender.
Well, as a City fan, I think Laporte's been better than Diaz this year.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure why Diaz got in the team of the season. Well, I mean, he missed quite a lot of games as well.
Yeah, he was injured for recently. Yeah.
So that surprised me, but Yeah, I'd go with Laporte.
Interesting. I think it's a good shot. I think Andy Robertson's been fantastic for Liverpool this year. I think his defending and attacking display's been great. They've got to throw one out there. I think Cucurella for Brighton.
Oh yeah, he was great.
He's been fantastic. I actually saw. I think I saw City were interested.
Yeah, 30 million apparently.
Yeah, which I think is a bargain, by the way.
Yeah. They're going to need a new left back because Mendy's out of contract now this season, and I don't think he'll be re-signed.
No. Interesting. So probably got Cucurella for me, but that's just trying to pick like an outside one that's not.
From the non-established.
Yeah, I think Eric Dyer has been all right this year for Spurs.
Yeah, solid.
And also Ben White as well for Arsenal. I think would be a good shout.
Yeah.
Midfield. We've been treated to some spectacular goals, likes of James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, I was going to say James Ward-Prowse.
Free kick legend. I think De Bruyne's just been De Bruyne this year. Done what he does, pretty much for the last few seasons now. Yeah,
and the midfield is a weird one for trying to decide where people play.
Yeah, so you've got your wingers and then you've got your... Yeah, I get you.
So if we're classing Rafinha as a midfielder, I'd put him.
Really,
I think he's been such a shining light in that Leeds team. It was so bad for so many games. They were so bad for a run, and he was still chipping in with goals and performances, and he's got a lot of passion for Brazilian as well.
But he was linked to Barca, which I think broke down actually recently.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he's there, to be honest.
They'll do well to keep him.
Yeah, a lot.
But as a Leeds fan, the money you get for him might be also... I mean, they've just spent quite a chunk on... I think his name's Aronson or something from one of the German leagues. So I think it's going to be maybe a well-deserved income for Leeds if they were to sell him.
Possibly. Well, they've got some great assets. If Rafinha does go and if Calvin Phillips go, they're going to get a lot of money for those two.
For sure. Odegaard, another one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he was good for a while, but with Arsenal, they just tailed off at the end. It was the same with Saka. He was tearing up for a while, and then towards the end of the season, he just did nothing. Yeah,
there's been loads of good midfield displays this year. When I say like player of the year in midfield, the first one that pops in my head is sort of like James Ward-Prowse really, and I think the way he's played this year and the way he's scored some really important goals for Southampton, kept them up, I think I'd probably pick him in the end.
Yeah, I mean in terms of like overall,
exactly. I think De Bruyne's been fantastic. I think he has, and I even think Thiago for Liverpool deserves a shout as well.
Rodri is just so solid.
Exactly. But you can't pick all City players.
Yeah, no, that's what we'll try and not pick Liverpool and all City players.
But no, I think there's been a few shouts. Striker, Son got the Golden Boot.
Yeah.
Salah there as well. It's
Kane
hard.
started so badly and then finished so strongly.
It's hard. Son did it without scoring a penalty.
That's it.
Which I think is also something you have to bear in mind as well.
Yeah.
Kane hasn't done bad this year.
No.
He brought it up towards the end of the season. I think second half of the season started picking up the goal ratio a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm trying to think through now.
Well, obviously, like with City, it's hard to pick a striker because you're playing your midfielders as strikers. Like Foden's playing up front most of the time, or so it's hard with them.
I think Ivan Toney did a good job for a newly promoted team. It's always hard for newly promoted teams to score the goals.
100%.
And he was chipping in regularly. He didn't like have a barren spell. A lot of times, say someone scores 10 goals, they might get them all in the first half of the season, and then it's not good 100%. Because you need them to chip in regularly. And he seemed to not go very long without a goal. Maybe 3 games, and then he'd score, and then another 2 games, then he'd score 2.
Your reasoning for that is pretty much the opposite of my reasoning for Antonio with West Ham.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the year, actually he was one of my first picks for my fantasy footy team, and he was just banging in goals week after week, and I was like, right, here we go, what a pick this is. Then after Christmas, it sort of died off a bit. You get the assist now and then, and his hold-up play is fantastic. So he was pretty much involved in most goal contributions, for West Ham. But then Bowen started picking things up a little bit. Also picked for England as well, by the way.
Bowen was great.
Yeah, he's had a great season. So I think Antonio started very well, tailed off towards the end, definitely. Goal of the season? You think of incredible goals?
I think the Salah one got it against Man City.
Officially, is that the one they gave? Is it? Yeah. Wow. Okay. It was moving.
Yeah. It was a great solo effort.
I think Son scored a couple of curlers, top bins, and obviously James Ward-Prowse with his free kicks as well.
Yeah, some of those free kicks were class.
Definitely. Let us know who you think. Obviously, you can comment down below or even on Twitter as well. We might do a little poll or something, see what people think. I think we've covered footy, really, haven't we? I think it only really makes sense to move on to the F1.
I just point my manager of the season.
Oh, of course, manager of the season.
I am his biggest fan, but Graham Potter is just. He needs to get a chance somewhere. He needs these. That's the thing. Where but how far can he take Brighton on this budget? Because they only just brought in Cucurella this season, and it feels like he's going to go already. Yeah. They had Ben White for a season. He went straight away. Yeah. They're just going to keep that level of performance, and some of the performances were just outstanding. Yeah. Like when the win against United was like you could have been watching a top 4 team. Easily. They were that good. And
some of the football they play is great, and he's managed to get the best out of players who really probably wouldn't do any good anywhere else. For the likes of Danny Welbeck, for example.
Yeah, Danny Welbeck's they've got this new lease of life. And Lamberty was a Chelsea reject, and now everyone is saying how amazing he is.
That's another thought as well. Young player of the year or something like that. I think Lamberty's been up there. He's been fantastic. So yeah, I agree with that. I like that too. Yeah. F1. Mm-hmm. We just had Monaco. Not sure when we'll release this podcast as soon as possible, but I think, excuse me, by the time that it comes out, the most recent race that would have passed is Monaco. Mm-hmm. Perez winning. Yep. Leclerc finishing 4th.
Yeah. Bit of a mess up from Ferrari.
There was a bit of a balls up, wasn't there? They didn't really give an explanation either, really, as to what happened. Do you want to explain roughly, sort of what happened?
I didn't actually watch.
Okay, I'll explain.
Following the commentary, yeah.
They both came into the pits at the same time, essentially. There was a lot of confusion at the beginning. The race had been delayed. Yep. Because of the rain. Now, in most places, if it is raining heavily, they usually will sort of carry it on or just sort of sweep it off. In Monaco, it's a bit harder. It's a street race. It's narrower as well, so it's more of a case of trying to understand how dangerous it is for the drivers. Yep. The FIA decided it was too dangerous, so at one point it was actually like they could call it off. On the weather charts, it said that it was going to die down a bit, which it did. The other thing with Monaco is that when it rains, it dries quick. Yep. When it stops raining. So it got to the point where everyone went out in wet, and then I'm trying to think who the first driver was that came in. I think it wasn't Russell, I think it was someone else came in, and they put intermediates on while the track still looked wet, and they got a fastest lap by a good 5-6 seconds. And at that point, everyone on the radio was like, right, come in, let's change weather. Sainz was in. Leclerc was told to come in 3 seconds before the sort of the entry to the pits. As he's turned in, they go, no, don't come in. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, it's too late now, right? Can't reverse out. So he had to wait a couple of seconds, and then by that time it was too late, and he was full. Monaco was hard enough to overtake, let alone when it's been pissing down as well. Mm-hmm. So it was an interesting race. I think the Ferrari team will be disappointed. Yep. I think also Perez, his first win in Formula 1.
I think
so. That's his first one.
And I think he won one for Force India. Maybe.
Under Red Bull.
Yeah, Red Bull. Yeah.
That's his first.
And I think it was almost impossible for him to win at Red Bull. The only way it could have happened is if he was in front and Verstappen wasn't directly behind him.
Which is exactly what happened
at Monaco. Yeah. Because any other track, if he's in front, it's because the Red Bull's the fastest. Which means that if Verstappen was in third, he's going to come in second, and then the team orders, which we saw in Spain, they're going to be let's stop race the race, or whatever. Exactly. This isn't your race to race, and bang, you'd have to let him through. So the only way it's possible was for Perez to, and Perez has been doing amazing this season.
I think when you talk about team players, Perez is a proper team player. I think Sainz as well for Leclerc does the same thing.
But it was going to be massively interesting if, say, over the next 2 or 3 races, if Perez gets another win because of a DNF for Verstappen, he's just going to make 25 points on him, and then he could get halfway through the season and they're both on a similar level of points.
I hope
and in
it
that
happens.
situation, Perez should put his foot down and say, "Let us race now."
Yeah.
You know, Rosberg,
Well, Horner
Hamilton's
won't have a
there.
leg to stand on either, because if he makes the same argument for Verstappen, he has to make the same one for Perez.
Yeah. The thing is, in terms of marketability, you know, Verstappen is much more well known,
Oh,
and in terms of
100%.
Red Bull, they can argue like we need Verstappen to do better because he's our like
But
poster boy.
I would also say that more people hate Verstappen than they do hate Perez.
Yeah, probably.
So
It's just nice to see him do well, you know, because he's.
100%. I think, like you said, the only way he was going to win that race is if.
Oh, I'm
Verstappen-
saying any race in the season.
Fine. But I'm saying in general, like if Verstappen wasn't behind him,
Yeah.
and actually I was really happy he wasn't. I was
The
thinking,
Sainz was in the middle, yeah.
please don't overtake, you know. And I think probably deep down, Perez is quite happy about it as well.
For sure.
I definitely think he would have probably preferred that over Verstappen coming second, and
Yeah.
then because they would have made the call.
Yeah.
They 100% would have said, right, it's time. you
Yeah.
know. And he moaned about it in Spain a little bit.
Well, he said that it's not fair, but I accept it.
Exactly,
That's what he said.
he understands, I guess. But if he was in Verstappen's position, he probably would have wanted the same thing as well.
Yeah.
And like you say, if this comes about, it might happen.
Oh yeah, well now for the rest of the season, the only way he beats Verstappen in a race is if Verstappen has trouble.
Exactly,
You know,
yeah.
Because if they race, if Perez is in first, it's because the Red Bull's fastest, and that would mean that Verstappen is going to be faster than him. So
Exactly. Where do we go next?
I'm not sure. I think there's a break now.
It's a bit of a break, isn't
Yeah,
there?
I think maybe we go to Bakou. I'm not sure.
Is it back out there?
Yeah, well, there might be one in between.
Interesting. We've been putting a couple of tips up, and we had a couple of winners in the golf.
Yep.
First one was Thomas.
Yep.
What Open was that?
That was the PGA Championship.
Um,
And then we had Fox. But it's quite interesting because we had literally like the opposite scenario happen on either one. So in the first one, Thomas set a score and Pereira, this sort of rookie Chilean player, double bogeyed the last.
Right.
And then Thomas went into a playoff with Zalatoris and Thomas won the playoff.
Okay.
And then in the latest one we had in the Dutch Open, we went for the European Tour this time. We had Fox, and Fox was miles clear on the last. He triple bogeyed the last.
Triple bogeyed the last.
No, double bogeyed the last. Sorry.
Double bogey, yeah.
And then lost in a playoff.
Yeah.
So we kind of got a bit of luck the first time, and we lost a bit of luck the second time.
But this time we lost a lot of luck. I mean, if we look at some of the putts that Perez was putting in, I mean,
absolutely sensational. I've never seen it.
Was that 35 footer and a 42 footer or something like that?
Well, so they played 4 playoff holes in the end.
Yeah. But the
first
18th 3 times and the 17th was the
last
par
one.
3.
So for one of them, Perez needed to put a 20 footer to extend the playoff. He did that. That was the first one. Then the second hole, they're both sort of similar. The third time round, he needed a 35 footer to extend the playoff.
Right.
Then they extend the playoff. They go to the 17th next time.
Yeah.
He puts a 40 footer to win.
Yeah.
So I've never seen a putting display like it. It was just everything.
I remember I wasn't, because I was watching the F1 and I also had to play a final on my phone as well. So you were on the golf, and I was like updating me, and you were messaging me like, oh, he's got a 42. He's got a 35 footer or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
He got it, and I'm like, what?
It was so when he needed that 40 footer, it was just inevitable.
Yeah. And then I switched it on and saw the last hole, and I was like, oh, I just can't believe it.
But it's nice with the European Tour. You know, I quite like watching it because the sort of prizes are much more varied. You know, it's players who aren't the greatest players, but they're like journeymen. So one of the prizes in Open for this one was a top 3 finish.
Right.
Gets you into the Open.
Okay.
So even though Fox lost, he'll be playing in the British Open in July, and obviously Perez will as well. And the guy who finished third is a Polish boy, Moronk, who is having a great season, yet to win. So I think if he's playing this week, he's going to be my tip.
I think it's a good shout. We'll be sharing everything, obviously. Stick it on Twitter for everyone to have a look at. If you had any of those bets, send them through. It would be nice to have a look at them. And even if you have any, if you disagree with some of them as well, and think someone else has a better chance, also let us know too. We still won that the Fox one, obviously, because it was each way. So if you managed to get on it, thank you very much. I was just thinking as well, actually, because we did a massive preview on the IPL. This is probably our first or second podcast, I think. which has come to the conclusion now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The Rajasthan Royals?
No, Gujarat
Oh, the
Titans.
Gujarat Titans, was it? Gujarat Titans. They ended up winning.
Beating the Rajasthan Royals.
Reclaiming the title.
No, this was this debut. Gujarat Titans.
Rajasthan Royals they've won it before. No?
Yeah, they won it. They won it the first season.
Exactly.
Under Shane Warne was the captain.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Gujarat Titans, they're a new franchise.
I think
for the first time.
Josh Butler broke a record, did he, or equaled a record, or something like that?
I think
centuries.
I think he broke this. No, he equaled the centuries one,
yeah.
and he got second in the most runs in a season.
Yeah.
So Kohli's top with about 950, and he was second with maybe about 860 or something like that.
Player of the season?
He's definitely won the purple cap, so he's definitely batter of the season.
I mean, he's unbelievable. I think what is it with some players in the IPL?
Yeah, he's had an amazing year. Even Livingston was mad good as well.
Yeah.
It was great for the English game.
Yeah, I think we predicted that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Mentioned it.
Because Livingston went for big money.
Yeah.
But in terms of English cricket, we've had two things since we last.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a new captain now.
Stokes.
Yeah.
Behind the wheel. Is that sort of expected or a bit of a surprise?
Well, I can't say it's a surprise. And unexpected is more the root step down. Mm-hmm. In terms of who you'd pick, there's only Stokes that is one going to always be in the team because his performance don't really drop, and two, with it like experience level.
Well, this is the thing as well. People say that like when Root was selected, he wasn't that experienced when you think about it. It was just more sort of what he's like in the change room, how he is as a player as well. So I think that.
But he was always going to be in the team. This is the problem with the other players.
And that's the second thing I was moving on to, is that you have to pick somebody that's regularly going to be in the England team, like someone that you can't not have in the England team unless they're injured or whatever, I think it'd be interesting to see how he does.
Yeah, new coach as well.
Absolutely.
Randy McCullum.
Yeah, I think that's been in the pipeline for a little bit.
Well, there was actually rumours that Shane Warne was going to be offered it,
and then since unfortunately he passed away, I know that in the pipeline they were talking to, and I think it's a good choice in the end. Yep. Hopefully now we'll be able to fight on, and
he's definitely proved that he's a good coach in white ball.
Exactly.
I think this is his first job in red ball.
Yeah,
he was a great test player, so I can't really see him.
One of the best.
Yeah,
easily. So yeah, exciting times. I think there's also going to be a little surge of sort of new, younger players coming into the England squad as well, because in club cricket there's been some great performances, some great batsmen as well.
Yeah.
I think ideally we're just looking for like another Strauss Cook combo, aren't we? That's what we need. Dream. That's what we need, but we haven't.
It'll be interesting to see which team is picked on, because Thursday is the Sun.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not this. No, yeah, it is this Thursday. This Thursday we'll put it out before then. Is going to be the first test. Is he going to play Anderson and Broad?
Yeah, well, that's why he called them back into the team. Yeah. I think for it, no, just like as in to get them back into it. They're both in the
squad, but whether they're both going to play in the first match, I don't know. And then it's going to be interesting. There's so many little storylines.
Yeah,
McCullum is the new coach. The first team he's going to play against is New Zealand.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time, but I think it's an exciting time as well as an England cricket fan.
Yep.
I think we've pretty much covered a lot of bases. Tennis-wise, there was a couple of things.
Yeah, so obviously the French Open is on. We're not massive tennis experts.
No.
We were gonna look into it. We were gonna do our research, and we were gonna do.
We have a couple of friends who are actually tennis traders.
Exactly.
I'll sort of convincing them to try and come on the podcast, or do as a little feature video or something. But we're still working on that. If not, we're just gonna have to ask them and then just relay the information.
Yeah, we'll definitely before Wimbledon we'll definitely have one. But we struggled with this one obviously because we had injuries and holidays and stuff like that. But I've been watching and there's been a few interesting talking points. So Nadal yesterday, the player that he beat, is actually coached by his own uncle.
Right.
And I didn't know this, and I was reading about it. And the Canadian player, when he approached Nadal's uncle, Nadal's uncle actually said to him, "Well, you're still young. Like it's almost certain that at some point you're going to come up against Nadal, and when that happens, I'm not going to coach you. I'm not going to watch the game because Nadal's my nephew, and I want him to win.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it got me thinking, like, how you would feel if that was your coach?
It is a bit shit, isn't it? It is a bit rubbish. That.
But at the same time, this coach is obviously a great coach, and Nadal's not going to be around forever.
No.
So I don't know. I kind of see both sides to it, but I think it would be a hard one to take, knowing that your coach, who's supposed to be supporting you, is actually maybe wanting you to lose this game.
Yeah.
But he took him to 5 sets. It was a great game. And then the other one, there's an American player, I think they pronounce the name Pegula.
Okay.
She is the daughter of a billionaire who owns the Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
And I was thinking, if you're the son or the daughter of a billionaire, you can basically do whatever you want with your life. And I thought it's quite like, I actually have got like massive respect. Because
she loves tennis, obviously.
But that's the thing, that it will have taken her so much hard work.
Yeah.
Because even if, say, you had everything, say her dad paid for the best coach, had a tennis court in the back garden, had a trainer every day, it's still going to take an impossible amount of effort to get into the top 10 in the world.
For sure.
And I was thinking, originally you're like, billionaire daughter, does whatever. And I'm thinking, if I was the son of a billionaire, I would be like, I want to be a tennis player. And about 3 weeks into the training, I'd be like, I'm done. So, I've got much more respect, than I thought I would.
Yeah, no, fair play. I think if I was, I'd be on a yacht somewhere, like Barbados or something like that. But maybe he wasn't that type of dad. Possibly, maybe he was like, go and earn a living or something, and show me what you're interested in, and then I'll help you sort of fund it. And I guess in tennis, it's not maybe the most expensive sport in the world, but if you want the best trainers, the best coaches, it probably will be. I actually watched that King Richard movie the other day. And you go see how
before or after Will Smith did the slap.
It was actually after. It wasn't long ago. It was maybe a week ago or something. But you got an understanding of how if you come from maybe a less privileged background or poorer background in the US, it's hard to find people who trust you, and that was what I took out of that movie anyway. So fair play to her. We also have horse racing this weekend. There's Epsom, I believe.
Yep.
So we can do some research there and get some tips up for that. Football's finished now.
Yep.
We have the England women's Euros, is it?
Yeah, the Euros. So it's going to be They start in July, I believe. It's hosted in England.
What stadiums have they picked? Yeah.
Well, there's sort of like a mix of big stadiums and sort of smaller ones.
Right.
So there was actually a bit of backlash, but we'll talk about this more when we do the preview, because it'd be interesting to do the preview.
Sure.
But one of the big issues they had was that, I don't know if you know, the Etihad campus is its own stadium.
Right.
So you have the Etihad, and then you have maybe I think it's about an 8,000 seater stadium attached to the same campus.
They don't have the 23s play there and stuff.
Yeah, but that's where Man City women actually play their home games.
Wow.
So they've actually picked that
over the Etihad.
And I think one of the smaller nations have a home game there. I think it's like Iceland or something like that.
Right.
And they really kicked off saying it's massively disrespectful, and you can see that they've got a point. But like I say, we'll mention that more when we do the preview.
If I lived around the corner from the Etihad, I'd rather go to the Etihad.
Exactly.
It's that experience.
I say this is supposed to be, a flagship event. It doesn't matter if there's only 10,000 people in. It should be.
Not only that as well. You've got to have young kids going there, aspiring to be footballers and stuff. You want to influence them and send them to the under 23. One day you'll play in that big stadium, but at the moment you're going to watch them here. It's going to be hard to believe. So that's it really for football until the new season starts. So we'll try and keep the sort of podcast and Twitter active as we can. It's hard to get a whole sort of hour filled in on just one sport. So perhaps some smaller videos coming out soonish. We can do a review on the horse racing, which is coming up this weekend. So I know that's quite popular with some of you guys, and we'll keep updated with the golf ones as well, because we're on a roll at the moment. It's nice to keep that going too. And we will also come around to doing some cricket stuff, I think, as well. With some more international games, test matches, things like that. I think will be a really good fit.
Yeah.
I think we covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, happy?
Yep.
Excellent. Thanks for listening to Talk Sports Traders podcast. Please give us a like, follow, subscribe, all the good stuff. Leave a comment as well if you want. Same on Twitter as well. We have a Twitter handle which will be underneath us. And like I say, if you want us to talk about something, or if you have a bet or something like that, fire it to us. We always respond. We had somebody actually who sent a bet slip, I think, on Twitter.
That was for the Lando Norris podium in
not Spain. It would have been.
No, it was the one before Miami.
Before Miami. Yeah, I don't know which one it was. But yeah, see, we have people who interact with us, so feel free to take it on. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
See you later.